I'd go to the end of the earth to catch anybody who hurt a child. Well, that promise and a great tip from a 12-year-old girl led me here to Belize in Central America. This is the place where a chess-teaching pedophile I told you about a few weeks ago tried to hide out in paradise. As we showed you, Robert Snyder was a natural, a true chess master. And he cashed in on his gift, writing books, setting up a website, and giving private lessons. His pupils, mainly young boys. Snyder set up his business in Fort Collins, Colorado, where he transformed his home into a child's paradise. Games, movies, and lots of chessboards. But chess wasn't the only game Snyder was playing. For him, his students were the pawns. Finally, one young victim found the courage to tell his parents what had happened.
They said, well, he invited me up on his bed. He basically pulled my underwear down, and he said, we have a problem.
When the boy's father confronted Snyder and recorded the phone conversation, Snyder acted like he'd done nothing wrong.
So he did sleep in your room then?
Of course. I just told him as long as he's in a sleeping bag, and he kept on complaining it was really hot. I said, well, you can take your bottoms off.
The recording helped put an end to Snyder's disgusting game. At least that's what everyone thought. But Snyder only had to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of unlawful sexual conduct and only had to spend 2 years in a county jail.
He was to register as a sex offender for life, every 90 days starting on his birthday. When he failed to show up for his registration, when he failed to meet with his probation officer, warrants were issued for his arrest.
Snyder disappeared, a predator on the run, and the Fort Collins police turned to America's Most Wanted to help hunt him down. We know that molesters like Snyder don't change. When we profiled Snyder last fall, we told you that with his money and resources, there was no way to know where he might be hiding.
Did you notice any scars or tattoos?
We got tips from all over the United States, but one lead in particular got investigators excited. A lead that didn't come from anywhere in the country. That great tip came from this house right here in Belize City. The family are regular viewers of America's Most Wanted every Saturday night, and I couldn't wait to meet them to find out what happened the night we profiled Robert Snyder. You got to be Sheena.
I am. Nice to meet you, John.
Really nice to meet you. And this is the beautiful Cree.
Nice to meet you.
Great job.
Come on in, John.
Love to. Sheena, tell me, you're a regular viewer on Saturday night. You're watching America's Most Wanted. What happened?
I saw the segments on Robert Snyder, and it didn't mean anything to me because I didn't know who he was until my daughter came downstairs.
I'm thinking, that looks just like the chess teacher at school. He was pretty creepy.
Did you believe her?
I sure did believe her. It was pretty significant that she actually said that he was a chess teacher for the fact that she never saw that segment and knew that he had any affiliation with chess. That was the first alarm that went off. She further then told me that he gave her the creeps and that he had an interest in a boy in her class in doing private lessons. So all those were warning bells, and I thought I had to investigate further.
So you went to the website?
Did. I went on the website. We looked at his picture again, and I just got her to confirm. She's like, yep, that's him. And from there, I sent my tip into America's Most Wanted.
Both of you are very brave. I got to thank you for having the courage to put that tip online. It was a huge tip, and that's what alerted police to Robert Snyder's new life that he was trying to build here in Belize. His students here knew him as Augustine Rios, a new identity police learned he'd bought for himself in Mexico. Armed with a fake passport, a Mexican driver's license, and a voter registration card, he made his way to Belize and settled in, hiding in plain sight. and hoping to earn a living the only way he knew how, with chess.
He came to my school saying he's a chess instructor, you know, giving me his particulars, his resume, and I needed a chess teacher around that time, so I said, oh, great, I'll consider it.
Hey, Felipe, don't forget you can cancel.
A background check on Augustine Rios came up clean, so he got the job.
Yeah. Very, very good.
He was slightly eccentric. He was a bit awkward, but he really knew how to teach chess well.
He married a local woman and lived here in this modest house just north of Belize City. The awful truth about his sordid past hidden away.
There was no way we could have known that this man was a fugitive. I was very clear that he was intelligent. He wasn't a low-life criminal, you know, who would, you know, he knew what he was doing, and he was, you know, he was very smart.
But not smart enough to know that America's Most Wanted is broadcast in Belize. When Sheena and Cree's tip came in, it didn't take Fort Collins police long to learn it was for real.
We decided to Google Belize chess. So we started going through the blogs, and we come across a picture of Mr. Snyder teaching at this chess camp in Belize in March of 2009. It was pretty clear he had changed his appearance. He wasn't wearing glasses. He had grown his hair back out, but it looked in the picture like he had dyed his hair black.
Now it was time to bring the police in Belize into the game, and they were more than willing to help sweep this trash out of their country. Belize police followed Snyder's every move for days, and then they made their move. And it all went down right here at the police station headquarters here in Belize City. Snyder had no clue what was about to happen. He walked right through those doors. This is Assistant Police Commissioner Miguel Segura. Miguel, I've heard a lot about you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, John Walsh.
How did you lure Snyder to police headquarters?
Snyder was applying for a nationality status here in Belize. So after the interview, I had met him here at the front of these steps, and I invited him back upstairs.
So he came out. He thought he was cool.
Right.
And you confronted him.
That's right.
Back inside. What did you say to him?
Well, actually, he was going under that name of Agustin Rios. So having all that planning, I engaged him in that conversation.
Tell me a little bit about your parents, Mr. Rios. Where are they from?
Mexico.
Who is his father? Who is his mother? Where did he grow up? And not less than 3 minutes, I confronted him, and I called him by his first name, Robert.
Your real name is Robert Schneider, isn't it?
And he froze. Thereafter, he started to cry. And then he took out the documents, handed it over to me, said that he doesn't need it anymore.
Cry like the little baby coward that he is.
He did.
The takedown was as smooth as they come. Snyder was tossed into a cell in Belize's national prison. Within days, he was headed to the airport and put on a plane. And a few hours later, he was back in the United States to face justice.
Snyder, did you know you were on America's Most Wanted?
No comment.
What do you think of the fact that you were apprehended due to a tip to America's Most Wanted?
This was a sight that so many people back in Fort Collins had long waited to see. His victims were no longer afraid of what he might do next, and no longer afraid to show their faces.
It gives you a sense of closure. We're back to being whole and healed and complete again. And we went from being victims to having victory in this.
And the end game for Snyder is near. Last month, he pleaded guilty to violating his probation and now faces life in prison. From that very brave tipster to our hotline, the Fort Collins, Colorado police to the Belize police. What a great international partnership. Good work. And it sends a loud message to fugitives. You can run to Belize, but you can't hide. Really good job.
Thank you.
Now stay with us. We'll be right back from Belize with more of the hunt for the world's most wanted.
Coming up, this man has been reported killed in a plane crash twice. Find out why cops say he is still very much alive and why he's the newest international fugitive they need your help to track down.
With its beautiful beaches and amazing barrier reef, Belize has become a vacation destination, perfect for a tropical getaway. But Belize has become a preferred destination for people who are looking for another kind of escape, fugitives from American justice. And that's where the Diplomatic Security Service comes in. And this is Rob Kelty. He's the regional boss here in Belize. Rob, tell us what the DSS is.
Diplomatic Security is the law enforcement and security arm of the Department of State. We're the most widely represented U.S. law enforcement agency in the world. We have a presence in 285 locations worldwide.
Now, I know you and the DSS here in Belize has caught 19 American fugitives. Of course, one of them, Robert Schneider, the wanted pedophile from Colorado. Why do so many fugitives come here to Belize?
Well, fugitives choose Belize for three major reasons. First, Belize is an English-speaking country. Second, it has a stable 2-to-1 currency exchange rate with the U.S. dollar, and dollars are widely available. And finally, you don't have to get on a plane to travel to Belize.
Well, it's really impressive how the DSS and the Belize police have worked together to get these 19 fugitives off the street. It's important, isn't it?
Absolutely. The partnership that we have with the Belize Police Department is essential. And that's the type of partnership that Diplomatic Security has with law enforcement agencies worldwide. Without their cooperation, we can't put fugitives on a plane so they can face justice in the United States.
Well, I hope you can help us out tonight with another fugitive we're looking for. He's a drug smuggler wanted in the U.S. who had an operation based here in Belize. The trip Olga Thrasher took to Jamaica in 1985 was anything but a vacation. Her husband, Wallace, a pilot, had reportedly crashed a chartered plane on the island. She returned to the U.S. with only a death certificate because no body had been recovered. Olga's news startled people in their hometown of Roanoke, where Wallace Thrasher had grown up and been a high school football star.
We just saw ourselves as just an ordinary couple, you know, that wanted to marry and have a family and live the family life. There was nothing in our home life that wasn't just like everybody else's.
But the Thrashers' neighbors were in for another shock. Pressured by authorities for more details of her husband's death, Olga made a startling admission.
We falsified the whole thing. I needed to somehow get law enforcement to believe that he was dead.
Olga really had no idea where her husband was. She'd faked his death in Jamaica for one simple reason. Cops say she needed him to be dead to get at his money. Thrasher had a lot of it because he was no ordinary pilot.
Thrasher and his family had many assets, some of which were from the drug trade.
Cops say Thrasher had managed to fly under their radar for years, literally. He was a thrill seeker whose life as a daredevil pilot served his secret life as an international drug smuggler.
He was someone who was adventurous, enjoyed the thrill of doing what pilots do, which is kind of push the limits, put all this drug smuggling business aside. I mean, he was someone that was well-known, well-liked. Couldn't have been a better dad as far as that goes.
It sounds so absurd, but our home life was Leave It to Beaver. It was so easy to ignore the reality of what was really happening.
The reality, according to the U.S. Marshals and the DEA, is that Thrasher was running drugs from Colombia and Jamaica, eventually adding Belize as a pickup point. He was flying tons of cocaine and marijuana into Virginia and raking in millions. But Thrasher disappeared in 1985. Authorities think it was because of a debt he owed his suppliers. Cops say that's when Olga came up with her failed plan to get his money by declaring him dead. Olga agreed to a plea bargain in the case. Then 2 years later came word of yet another mysterious fatal plane crash, this time from a Thrasher associate in Belize.
Some people had said the plane went down, crash, caught on fire, and all they could get from that was his wedding ring.
The ring was returned to Olga, but take a look at it. there's not a single mark on it. Cops seriously doubt it's been through a fiery crash.
No one's story as to how he died has ever added up. There is no evidence to support any of the allegations that he is deceased.
But he has been seen. In August 2000, the marshals heard from a tipster who believed he saw Thrasher at this resort in Dan Griga in southern Belize.
We subsequently sent him photographs and age-enhanced photographs of Thrasher. After the tipster had time to review the photographs and the composite sketches, he again told us there was no question in his mind that that is who he saw in the hotel in Dan Griga. We will not stop. We will not quit pursuing until we have him or a body.
As you heard, we're not sure if Thrasher's still here in Belize, but we do know one thing for sure: he was here. So if you've seen this guy, do the right thing. Call our toll-free number, 1-800-CRIME-TV. The toll-free number works in Canada, U.S., and Mexico. But everywhere else in the world, you can go to our website, amw.com. You can leave your tip there. We need to bring this guy in and make him our next big international capture.
Up next. Did anyone approach you in Nigeria or London that expressed negative feelings towards the U.S.?
Is that what this is about? You think I'm a terrorist?
Tonight, it's all about how our manhunt has become truly international. And the next guy we're looking for is a prime example of why.
Right there, that's him. Have your agents take him down.
All units, target is westbound through the concourse. Take him down now. Repeat, take him down now.
Yes.
U.S. Customs. Come with us.
Anuhara, what were you doing in Nigeria?
What is this all about? We work together.
What kind of work?
He's a businessman. We do business work.
I'm in the import-export business. I buy high-end cars, Porsches, Benzes, whatever I get my hands on. I buy them in America, I sell them to Africa.
I'm a student. And right now I live in Miami.
We know you stopped in London for 2 days and stayed in the Ritz.
Since when is that a crime?
Did anyone approach you in Nigeria or London that expressed negative feelings towards the U.S.?
Is that what this is about? You think I'm a terrorist? I ain't no terrorist. Either charge me or let us go.
Tobichi Onwahara thought he'd gotten the best of the FBI and that his secret was safe. But what he didn't realize was he was playing a chess game with the feds, and he had no way to predict their next move. For months, Tobichi Onwahara was an FBI top priority. They already knew the damage he allegedly caused was huge, but they knew something else. Onwahara was not a terrorist. When we come back, I'll tell you what he was really up to. In June of 2008, FBI agents met a flight at JFK Airport in New York to question a guy they'd had on their radar for a long time, Tobichi Onwahara. They asked him about his recent trips to London and Nigeria, which led Onwahara to think that he was a terrorist suspect. And that's exactly what the FBI wanted him to do. So, what was Onwahara really up to? To understand that, you need to go back in time more than a decade and travel half a world away.
You know, they say that America is the only land of opportunity. Well, it's time you learn how we make opportunity in Nigeria. Come.
Onwahara was born in Houston, Texas. But before he was out of middle school, Onwahara's mother sent him to Nigeria to live with his father.
Give me your bank number and I will deposit the money in your account.
Onwahara was supposed to go to one of Nigeria's top boarding schools, but his father thought some on-the-job training would serve him better.
We'll both be helping each other out.
The elder Onwahara had made a small fortune in the notorious Nigerian 419 scam.
I will deposit the money. I will take care of you, sir. Yes. All you have to do is give me your bank account number, and I'll happily put the money into your account.
That's where a supposed prince needs to quickly get his cash out of his country and con someone to send him their money to do so, with the promise of a large return.
That's right. You have been approved, and within 24 hours, you have the money into your account.
Yes, sir. You've been approved for a $20,000 loan. Sure.
Onwahara took these lessons to heart when he returned to the U.S. and accepted a job in a Houston bank. Onwahara used his bank connections to gain access to customers' credit card information.
Hi, yes, my name is Jason Smith. I'm on vacation and I lost my credit card. Of course.
That's when he came up with his first of many scams and put together a crew to help him pull them off.
Hi, I'm Jason Smith. I believe you have a package waiting for me.
In this scam, Onwahara would reserve a hotel room in the bank customer's name and have the new credit card sent to the hotel's front desk. Card in hand, he'd immediately max out its cash advance. And while Onwahara partied on other people's money, his party would come to a crashing halt in 2002 when authorities caught up to him. Onwahara was sentenced to 2 years, but while behind bars, the last thing he thought about was going legit.
It's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. The only direction the real estate market is going is up, so it's time we take a ride. A couple of years ago, a house that sold for $200,000 is now going for $5. That means the bank which is floating this mortgage is willing to loan the homeowner what he owns on paper, $300,000. And that's where we come in. got to make sure you get the last name first and the first name last.
Pulling off a scam of this magnitude required several steps.
That's good.
Step 1. Anwahara got the names of homeowners with low mortgages but with substantial HELOC loans. Step 2. His crew learned everything they could about their targets in order to become them.
Yes, my name is Mary Swanson. Of course. My mother's maiden name is Gervin.
Step 3. Get the money before anyone knew it was gone. And because Anwahara insisted everyone in his crew use prepaid calling cards and prepaid wireless connections, calls were untraceable.
Hi, my name is Bob Tall. I'm having some trouble with my account.
And once Anwahara got a temporary password, he had access to the account and the ability to take every last dollar of that person's HELOC loan. And before the customer or bank knew it, FBI agents say hundreds of thousands of dollars were transferred from the victim's account to an account Anwahara had set up in Singapore. And by the time the FBI was called in, millions had already evaporated.
Wow, these guys are good.
We are at a point now where we're over 15 million, we're approaching 20 million, and the numbers kept growing and growing, and we realized we literally had hundreds of victims in this case. For 2 years, Anwahara was a phantom, his ID hidden from the FBI. But he didn't hide. He lived the life of a player. Toby lived a very lavish lifestyle. It was not unlike him to go out to a strip club or to a gentleman's club and spend $50,000 in a night.
Hey, Toby.
Hey, baby.
Nice medallion.
No, that's nothing.
To put it in perspective for you, on one occasion, Toby was at a strip club, and in this strip club was also a very well-known, famous rapper. And it's very common in the rap culture to show your success by literally throwing money up in the air. And this rapper was throwing money and making it rain, if you will. That's the slogan for it. Toby began to throw money, so much so that the rapper actually gave up when Toby continued to throw so much money.
And while Anwahara was throwing his money away, the FBI hit pay dirt. In 2008, the feds discovered the crew were using prepaid internet and cell service. The FBI reached out to the provider and found out there was surveillance video of the crew at one of their stores. But the FBI still needed names to go with these faces.
Yes, I like to call in the prescription. Yeah. The name is Tabishi Anwahara.
Someone in the crew had impersonated a doctor and called in a prescription to a pharmacy using one of the prepaid cell phones the feds knew about. The prescription was in the name Tabishi Anwahara. The FBI pulled up Anwahara's mugshot and compared it to the surveillance video. It was a dead-on match. But the FBI still needed to know more about Anwahara and his crew. And when they learned they were returning through New York's JFK Airport in the spring of 2008, they set their plan into motion.
The reason we were able to do that was because he had changed his flights several times. And so that's a red flag. As everyone knows, in the post-9/11 environment, that's one of the things that's looked at.
You stopped in London for 2 days, stayed at the Ritz. Did anyone approach you in Nigeria or London that expressed negative feelings towards the U.S.?
FBI agents were careful not to tip their hand that they were on to Anwahara's alleged scam. And in the end, it was Anwahara's girlfriend, Precious Matthews, who became the linchpin to their investigation.
Right now I live in Miami.
Although Precious claimed she was a college student, she had a tremendous amount of money moving into her bank account. She also paid the $5,000 a month mortgage on a mansion just outside Miami where she and Anwahara lived. Now the FBI could keep them in their sights 24/7, waiting for the right time to make their move.
They're on the move.
And on August 1st, 2008, the FBI had enough information to make their move, following Precious to the Hard Rock Casino in Fort Lauderdale.
Be advised, we're pulling into the parking lot.
Police, get out of the car! Out of the car! Hands up!
Drop the phone! Drop the phone! Drop it now! Police, get your hands! Drop the phone! Drop the phone! Hands on the car.
It's not him.
That's right. The other passenger was a relative of Anwahara's who looked just like him.
Drop that phone!
Precious actually sends a text message, as we later find out, to Toby, who's already in the casino, warning him that they're in the process of being arrested.
That warning is all Anwahara needed to make a clean getaway. He hasn't been seen since. Precious Matthews and the rest of the crew are now behind bars, but we need your help to find Tobichi Anwahara. Anwahara can speak with both an American and Nigerian accent. He loves expensive sports cars, and authorities say he's addicted to gambling and strip clubs. Authorities believe Anwahara stole $44 million, and that figure could go even higher. Some people call him the ultimate con artist. Now, here's one more very big, very tacky, and very expensive clue. Agents believe Anwahara is still wearing this diamond-encrusted, custom-made medallion. Anwahara loves it, and it could be worth nearly $1 million. Let me tell you, when he wears it around his neck, he sticks out like a sore thumb. So if you see it or you see him, don't hesitate to call 1-800-CRIME-TV. Earlier tonight, I told you about convicted child molester Robert Snyder, who fled here to Belize to try to hide in paradise. He was taken down right in this police station thanks to your great tips. Now, Angeline Hartman has the story of another man who cops say used his position of trust to violate children. It may take another international manhunt to bring this guy in.
Every spring, millions of young boys dream of playing baseball in the big leagues. With a bit of luck and a lot of talent, anything can happen.
It's always been my dream to play baseball at the next level, and it just keeps fulfilling itself.
He's now playing baseball at a major university and wants to remain anonymous. We'll call him Danny. He fell in love with the sport as a young boy in Fairfax County, Virginia.
High five.
His Little League coach was John Hamilton, who'd been a popular figure in the community for years.
Eye on the ball, get ready. He just slowly integrated himself into my life. Like, he bought me, like, all kinds of stuff. He took me on trips. He met all my family.
Nice. Danny's looking great.
John Hamilton grew especially close to Danny's mother.
Nice. Did you see that?
He was a really good friend of mine, like what a best friend would be. You know, just would help out driving. When life was stressful, he was always there to help out and listen.
You want to keep your glove down. Watch it come right into your glove.
Danny and his coach stayed close, even when Danny moved away to play college ball in 2008. At the end of his freshman year, Danny got some stunning news from home. His mother told him that John Hamilton had been accused of molesting children. A former Little League player, now a grown man, had come forward to police, alleging that Hamilton had abused him for months when he was 12 years old. Police brought Hamilton in for questioning. They videotaped the session as he denied everything.
I can't look at you straighter in the eye and tell you there's nothing that happened. You can look at me as straight in the eye as you want to, John, but you and I both know that this happened, okay? No, we don't.
Fairfax County Police Detective Jeremy Hinson knew he had a tough job ahead, investigating a 12-year-old case involving a well-respected man in the community. But when the detective began asking questions, a disturbing story quickly began emerging.
Everywhere it went, there seemed to be another story. And it's like when you kick the rocks over and you see the ugly bugs underneath them. Everywhere you looked, there was just bad things.
Can you think of any reason why someone would name you as a person to be suspected of this? Not at all. I got 1,000 people that will come in and vouch for me. I have no problem with that. What's going to happen if I go talk to other people? Are they going to say that it didn't happen too? There's nothing that happened.
Despite the adamant denials, Detective Hinson found enough witnesses and enough evidence to arrest Hamilton.
Twisted accusations against a trusted youth baseball coach.
Hamilton was arrested Friday morning at his home in Centerville.
Police say the accusations stem from an incident that happened back in 1997.
When Danny's mom told him about the horrible news she'd seen on TV, he realized that the awful secret he'd been hiding wasn't his secret alone. Danny says the baseball coach his family had so trusted had molested him too.
For a long time, it was almost every day it went on. Like, it happened hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, it was every day something was happening for a while. At the time, I didn't even understand what was going on. I mean, 12, 13-year-old, like, you don't know what's happening to you. It's just a difficult thing just to come right out about us. I mean, if it was some random person, it would be a lot easier, I think. I mean, he was a part of our family.
Danny notified the police, and as news spread, dozens of other men came forward, saying they too were victims as young boys.
He got away with sexual molestation of young children for over 20 years. Got away with it right in front of everyone's face.
With a growing list of charges and mounting evidence, Hamilton agreed to a guilty plea involving 5 of the most serious child molestation cases. Part of that agreement required that Hamilton finally tell the truth about all his illegal acts with children.
Like the first time that I ever did anything, I was either 16 or 17.
But even as Hamilton admits his crimes in this police video, he never accepts responsibility.
It was always, you know, with them never saying no. And it was them saying yes, or I want this, or whatever. Nothing was ever forcibly done.
After this interview last July, a judge let Hamilton free on bond until a court date when he would formally plead guilty. But when it was time, Hamilton was a no-show. Cops discovered that he and his mother withdrew almost $20,000 in cash and took a trip to Germany. She returned home. Hamilton did not. Now, no one knows where he is.
I just want him caught. Like, I want to be able to confront him. I want to be able to talk in front of him in court and have my last words with him before he gets locked up.
We need your help to make that happen. Remember, John Hamilton is a baseball fanatic. Cops say that before he fled, he took all of the double XL size Under Armour brand clothing from his family's sporting goods store and is still likely wearing some of it. He has scars on his left wrist from what police say was a suicide attempt after his arrest. Cops believe he could be on the move in Europe, living with unsuspecting families he befriended on the internet. If you know where John Hamilton is hiding tonight, please call our hotline at 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. For first responders, any call could be a matter of life or death. A first weekly AMW All-Star finalist, Officer Daniel Clark of the Winston-Salem, North Carolina Police Department, found himself in that situation when he responded to a holdup alarm.
Upon arrival, it was determined it was actually a domestic situation. The suspect had warrants. He fled.
Officer Clark and his partner chased the suspect into a ravine where they were ambushed.
It was a complete shock. We had no idea that he had a weapon.
The first shot killed his partner. Daniel Clark was critically injured.
I received a shot to the chest, which was captured by my bulletproof vest. The next round that struck me entered through my right ear. It struck my skull. It continued around my head, jumped my spine, and lodged in the left side of my neck.
But he stayed focused and did not back down. He returned fire, killing the suspect.
He tried in vain to save Sergeant Hutchins' life, but he also protected everyone who was in the parking lot and who was inside of that restaurant.
Officer Daniel Clark's courage and determination earned him your votes to become a finalist in our All-Star contest. Voting for our next finalist closes tomorrow at midnight Eastern Time. Just log on to AMW.com and vote for your favorite All-Star. In May, you'll choose one of the 8 weekly finalists as the 2010 AMW All-Star. I'll meet the winner at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series All-Star Challenge in Charlotte, North Carolina. Remember, you can still nominate your favorite first responder at AMW.com. Just tell us who they are and why you think they're an all-star. Vote now and make sure your hero gets the recognition an all-star deserves. Now, before we go, I want to thank the Diplomatic Security Service and the Belize Police for all the good work they do here. Next week, it's our 1000th episode. You won't want to miss it. I'm John Walsh. Until then, stay safe,